When the application for the petition was dismissed, the court stated that the actions of the Secretary to the Ministry of Power and Energy, S.1.2bn, shocked the conscience of the court. Even though the three-member bench of the Supreme Court, headed by Chief Justice K. Sripawan, dismissed the case, it forwarded two directions, stating that the credibility and the faith of the people in the judiciary must be maintained. One direction stated that the contract reached with the company in question may be terminated. It also said to call for fresh bids in terms of the law for the supply of coal in keeping with the competitive bidding procedures. Noble Resources International Private Limited filed a fundamental rights petition at the Supreme Court, citing that their fundamental rights were violated when a tender was awarded to another Singaporean company. The tender was awarded to Swiss Singapore Overseas Enterprises Private Limited when Noble Resources had provided the bids in 2015 in accordance with the provisions of the bid documents. The petition has listed the complete Cabinet of Ministers, the Secretary to the Ministry of Power and Energy, and the Standing Cabinet-appointed Procurement Committee as respondents. Noble Resources International Private Limited has produced bids for 1.064 million metric tons of coal in accordance with the provisions of the Cabinet-appointed Procurement Committee in April 2015. The company has agreed to provide 1 metric ton of standard coal for $46.62. Meanwhile, the other company in question that obtained the tender, Swiss Singapore Overseas Enterprises Private Limited, has also provided bids to provide 1 metric ton of coal at $54.41. The bids were considered by the Standing Cabinet-appointed Procurement Committee and the Technical Evaluation Committee. G.S. Vithanage, the Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Employment, acts as the Chairman of the Standing Cabinet-appointed Procurement Committee, while the Secretary of the Ministry of Power and Energy, S.1.2bn, the General Manager of the Ceylon Electricity Board, M.C. Veerasekara, and Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Power and Energy, S.A.N. Sarantissa, are members of the committee. Noble Resources International Private Limited, in its petition, goes on to say that the conditions of the tender have been revised after the bids were produced. The company has informed the Supreme Court that Swiss Singapore Overseas Enterprises Private Limited has made a written request regarding the matter. Eventually, 1.064 million metric tons of coal have been obtained from the Swiss Singapore Overseas Enterprises Private Limited at a cost of approximately $58 million. If the same amount of coal was obtained from Noble Resources International Private Limited, the cost would have been approximately $49 million. The loss incurred as a result of this transaction is approximately $8.3 million or 1.2 billion rupees. Attorney at Law Maitri Gunaratne, chairman of the Lanka Coal Company, stated that the Auditor General has already asked for an explanation regarding the matter from the company. Maitri Gunaratne added that the company will seek a clarification from the Supreme Court regarding its directions. When contacted by Newsfirst, the chairman of the Standing Cabinet-appointed Procurement Committee, G.S. Vithanage, stated that he cannot comment on the matter.
This is the biggest fraud of this government, second only to the bond scam. I will speak on the Supreme Court decision that was given out 2 weeks ago regarding this. It says that there is the use of force regarding the awarding of this coal tender, and power has been used externally for other purposes as well. There were 5 state officials in the Cabinet-appointed Procurement Committee. One such person is the Secretary to the Ministry of Power and Energy, S.1.2bn. There are a number of state officials, including Mr. Vithanage. I will not mention the names of everyone. When such a decision is given, when the Cabinet has been misled, when the Executive President of the country, the Prime Minister and everyone has been misled, the respective ministry has a responsibility to take action against such state officials according to the Establishment's Code. In other words, the Ministry of Public Administration has a responsibility. Is the Ministry of Public Administration unaware of the decision handed down by the court regarding the second biggest scam that took place under this government?
සිදුවෙච්ච දෙවැනි බරපතලම වංචාවේ අධිකරණ තීන්දුව දන්නේ නැද්ද?